On the next Mama's Family, Mama's fixing a holiday feast.
Mama's sending you off to Camp Hot Point.
While Mother Nature rains on her parade.
That was just a sonic boom.
But it's not nice to fool Mother Nature. Will Mama and company weather the storm?
It's more of a mist than a rain.
There's thundering laughter.
Will you knock it off?
On the next Mama's Family.
Mama's Family, Saturday night at 7 on TV 21.
Sitcom All Ye Faithful, a Christmas podcast special, where for the third time I discuss 25 Christmas sitcom episodes. Please come and listen every day up through Christmas. I'm sure we'll feature Jeannie, the Tanners, and Nell Harper, Chandler, Big Mr. Roper. It will be dynamite. We'll definitely feature a character who says dynamite.
If you were to ask me 2 years ago, a month ago, an hour ago, what the theme song to Mama's Family was, I would say I have no recollection at all. And yet, the moment it started playing on my television screen, I was just going doop 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 doop. I mean, I was all in, just like I remembered it. I said, "Oh my God, I can't believe that, you know, this song, which just brings me to a certain place and time in my life, I wouldn't have remembered ever in years and years and years." Folks, welcome back to Sitcom All Ye Faithful, where today, Monday, December 4th, we're here talking about Mama's Family. Mama. Sorry, I just watched Escape from Planet of the Apes the other day, so that was stuck in my head. Mama's Family, another spinoff. Really, I didn't know this as a kid, that this was a spinoff. This Mama was a character on a sketch called The Family that was part of the Carol Burnett show. So I'm looking it up. I'm like, oh, Carol Burnett was on Mama's Family. You know, she was only on 6 episodes, but she actually did have her own movie. So before, well, a TV movie, it was really like an hour special. I think the whole thing's on YouTube. After Carol Burnett show, before Mama's Family, we had a show, I think it was called Eunice. And because the focus of the sketch was Eunice. Like, Eunice had her family, but I think she was like the main player of this. And the TV movie, which just looked like a long sketch. It didn't look like an actual movie. It looked like it was shot like a sitcom. But the movie was, I think, a year or two before Mama's Family, and then Mama's Family became a show on regular network television. It went away, and then it came back. I think maybe 2 years or a year later. It took a year off, went into first run syndication, and I never quite understood the first run syndication thing as a kid. I just saw that this show, I knew there were some shows that were on, regular channels, regular times, and then there were other shows that were like on Saturday afternoon all of a sudden, or on the channels like the local channels around here, TV 38, Channel 56, The Winds W50, where the weatherman would be famous because he'd say high pressure. That's only for people in New Hampshire and Merrimack Valley, they would know, and Massachusetts that would know. Channel 50 WNDS The Winds, which also would play the old Batman television show, lots of great old TV shows. But that's the type of channel where you'd see a show like Mama's Family, or She's the Sheriff would show up on, or maybe a future episode of Sitcom All Ye Faithful, another show that I'm not going to talk about here today. But it just reminded me of the same type of thing. It had certain people in the cast, it went away, then it came back with new people in the cast. This somewhat, like, I think the original series of Mama's Family, Ken Berry had 2 kids, and then he comes back and he has 1 kid and I don't remember. I remember there being different kids, and I even remember, I saw it like, just looking up the show today, but I remember the second kid being like dopier. His name was Bubba, and he was funnier. But watching it today, I'm thinking, what's the relationship here? Is he Ken Berry's character's son? Is he their nephew? But it seems like he's the son, and the wife is the new wife of Ken Berry, his character Vinton, whatever. And then they had, like, the first season, I think, had Betty White on it, Rue McClanahan. They went off to golden pastures, and the new one just had the neighbor next door and the immediate family. That seemed to be the regulars that we saw. I think Harvey Korman would show up here and there, and Carol Burnett would show up here and there. But anyway, this show, I remember as a kid not realizing that Vicki Lawrence was Mama, and not realizing that Vicki Lawrence wasn't this old woman. I think she was at least the same age, if not younger, than some of the people on the cast, is my guess. And she'd pop up every so often and still do Mama. Like a few years ago, she was Mama in like some sort of skit, or she was like on a TV show, The Doctors, playing herself, like playing Mama. I don't know. That was like a daytime talk show. But this show, it won't go down as, anything great. It won't go down as some, like, top 50, top 100 sitcoms of the 80s. I don't think so. But it just is very nostalgic to me because I remember my family watching it. I was 10 years old when this episode came out. And I remember there was a certain things. I think once they went on a vacation, and once they went on Family Feud. And those type of things always, as a kid, I loved seeing TV shows where the cast went to outside their norm. When they went on a real TV show like Family Feud, they went on a trip. I think it was like Hawaii or someplace. So a lot of times, if they were ABC, they'd go to Disney World. You didn't realize it was a big commercial for Disney, but it just, certain things like that is what reminded me, is what makes, when I think of Mama's Family, I think of that. And of course, Ken Berry, he plays, I feel like he's most famous for this. But I remember he was also on an episode of The Brady Bunch where he adopted a few kids, and that was going to be a kind of a backdoor pilot. It's where it's not really a spinoff. It's like all of a sudden there's an episode of a show where they bring these characters in that you've never seen before, and they're getting a little too much attention. And then all of a sudden there's a new show with those same characters. So it's a weird way of introducing characters. I don't think that show ever happened much. And actually, at the same time, I realized when I watched those shows, it was probably decades before they were actually on the air. Ken Berry. But what I remember him more than just this, he was in a Herbie Rides Again, which to me, it was the second Herbie movie after what do they call it? The Love Bug. They didn't have, what's his name from the first movie? I can't even think of his name. But they brought in Ken Berry for at least one movie. I remember him from that, and of course from this, Mama's Family. So let me set the stage for you. It's Mama. She's this old Southern woman who's a real stick in the mud. She's got this big Southern accent, and she doesn't like anybody. She does not like Vinton's wife. It's obviously his second wife. His dumb son lives with them. And so it's the four of them living in the house together, and the neighbor next door, who I guess is sweet on Vinton, because every time she says something, the wife looks at her like, "Oh, I'm jealous of you." and it's Christmas time. It's Christmas time, and they're trying to decide what Christmas card to get. And then it turns out that Vinton was asked to be Santa Claus down at the mall to get pictures taken with kids. And it's a really dumb premise of actually how everything comes to be. Now, remember, the title of this episode is Mama Santa. So you can kind of see where this is going. So his son wants to make some money to get a gift for his girlfriend. And he's like, why don't you come down? They need someone to take pictures of Santa. So it seemed like this mall completely didn't plan ahead at all. They hired a Santa, like, now we got to find someone to take pictures. Like, you think months in advance they do this, but it's like 2 days before Christmas, and they're deciding to finally do this. So they're like, well, what are you going to do? And Benton's like, ho, 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 and ho, ho, ho. He tries, they like do lower, and he actually crouches down lower, ho, ho, ho. She's like, get out of here. He had to go practice his ho, ho, ho and how to talk like Santa. He had to practice so much that he lost his voice. Oh, the classic, he lost his voice. Now the whole family and the neighbor go down to see him and support him and the grandson over at the mall, and he comes up and he lost his voice. Now I thought they were going to do something where they washed the Santa costume and it shrunk, so now it wouldn't fit him and he had to put it on Mama. But no. He lost his voice, so they're like, we need Santa here. Oh, no, Santa. All the kids are screaming, Santa's not coming, Santa's not coming. And then they're like, well, what are we going to do? Now, honestly, get Bubba. He's the son. Just say, you get in the costume, and I'll dress up as the elf. No. They don't do that. Instead, their only solution is to friggin' dress up Mama, Vicki Lawrence, as Santa. Now, of course, she's the star of the show. That's the way it should be in sitcom reality. In real reality, probably just should have got Bubba, or go to mall management. Seems like there's no management at the mall here. So Vicki Lawrence comes out, Mama comes out dressed up as Santa, and there was one thing laughing when she's going ho 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 ho, and all the kids are grabbing her, pulling her, and then she just snaps and screams at them with her loud Southern high voice, and that made me chuckle. I smiled a bunch. It wasn't where I'm going, this is so funny, this is classic. Nothing like that. It was pretty much, very tropey, very, like run-of-the-mill, formulaic. But it's not always a bad thing, especially in these 80s sitcoms. You got the start. You had a moment to shine a little bit. You got to work with the little kids. And she told one kid, this kid looked like Bob Cratchit, or Tiny Tim. Like, she was dressed up. She's like, I want you to get a gift for my brother and get tools for my daddy who had them stolen off a truck. And I want this fancy doll. And she goes, I'll get you that doll. We don't know. And I was waiting for the mother to go, oh, we've all lost our jobs. And do that trope. And then they're like, well, she goes off and finds the spirit of Christmas. Because what I didn't tell you is she was just not in the Christmas mood this whole entire time. It wasn't until she started working with these kids and being Santa with these kids that she got the Christmas spirit. But they could have done something where I can't get that gift, and Mama goes and buys it. But that would have added 3 minutes to the show. They did do one thing where we found out that Vinton's tool company, I think that's his tool company, donated new tools to the daddy. So that could have just been a lie just to get new tools, but it worked. But what Mama did do is after this, after being Santa, she came home and bought everyone gifts. She was all excited about all these gifts. But the thing that really bugged her is when they set up this tree, they could not find the old wooden star that her late husband, had carved. Their first Christmas, they didn't have money for ornaments. He carved a star out of a piece of wood, and she strung cranberries and popcorn around the tree. And he told her, he said, Mama, even though that wasn't her name, he said, lady, I forget her first name, no matter what, as long as we have the star, we're going to have a good Christmas. So, of course, they can't find the star. And everybody's, she's very angry about this and very upset. And, she's just not in the mood. It was very Scrooge-like, even though we didn't go through a Scrooge thing. Then at the end, they all come home and everyone is off. And now she's in a good mood. And she's like, you know what? I'm just going to go put these gifts under the tree. And what is that? And we look up, and she's alone. And she looks up and she sees the star on the tree. And she's like, Vinton, did one of you find the star? How on earth did you find it? And then she looks at the star. No one is around to answer. And she looks at the star and she goes, well, maybe it wasn't of Earth. Earl or whatever his name was, if this, could this be from you? And I shit you not, the star starts to glow. And she looks and she's like, well, it's going to be a wonderful Christmas. Her dead husband's ghost came. Think about this. Her late husband's ghost came, put the star on top of the tree, and then had enough ghostly power to have this wooden star glow right in front of Mama. Now, if I saw that, if I was Mama and I saw that and I witnessed that, my entire outlook on the universe would change forever. The next episode, Mama should be just a devout, going to church, praying, just, espousing the world. They should have, people should be driving to her house just to take a look at this wooden star, they're seeing a bleeding, statue or a potato chip that's the shape of Jesus. This should be the biggest thing in the world. Instead, it glows, and she's like, well, I'll be. And then the next episode, she's going to be, a bitch again, or at least a curmudgeon again. So, but that's the thing about these certain Christmas episodes, especially with these old sitcoms, is they will add in a little bit of magic, a little bit of supernatural, fantasy. They will do that and get away with it because, well, first of all, who cares? It's just a sitcom. But it's the Christmas season. That's the time for magic, for Santa, for the holiday Christmas magic. My friend called me the other day. Goes, you have to believe in the spirit of Christmas. And I swear to you, he was not being sarcastic in any way. I laughed. And he laughed after he said it. But it is the way it is. And these TV shows, they did just that. They believed in the spirit of Christmas. Trying to think what else happened in this episode that was, is worth talking about. I mean, some of the kids were cute. Like there was a kid who was a real jerk and his mom was a jerk. And she's like, he's like, I want all these toys. He said all these terrible toys. He said he wants an Uzi that shoots water. I had one of those. I want a hand grenade. I want this. He goes, wow, you're really into, you're into adventure, Rambo. And the kid's like, I believe in the strength of our military or something funny like that. And then he goes, oh, I want an air rifle. And the mom's like, no, Santa can't get you an air rifle. You could hurt yourself. And she looks at the kid and goes, well, in that case, I'll make sure you get one. Because, Santa doesn't want to hurt this kid, but Mama wants this kid to shoot his eye out, obviously. There were other kids that were nice, they weren't as bad. And we saw a snapshot of each of these kids. One girl put her lollipop in Santa's beard. There was a baby, I think, who peed on Santa, Mama Santa. Mama Santa? Was that kind of like that? I wonder if that was a play on that. I doubt it, but it just popped in my head. I think that's it as far as talking about this episode. Very simple. Just, smiles, one laugh, maybe. But, nothing where I'm like, oh my God. And I'm not sitting there going, this is the worst thing in the world. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be. Just one of those cheesy 80s sitcoms that has a special, small special spot in my memory, in my childhood. Helped make me the man I am today. That's not true. But it still, was fun, and I'm glad that I was able to watch this episode and finally put Mama's Place, Mama's Family, on my list. Now, this episode of Mama's Family, and it looks like every episode, maybe, was free to watch on Pluto. Remember Pluto? It's still a thing. I always feel like Pluto gets lost in the shuffle. Now I think of Tubi first, and now I think of Freevee even, which was the Amazon's free one. They put a lot of movies up. But Pluto's still out there. One of these free commercial-based streamers. This one, I like Tubi better because of the way they do their commercials. Seriously, Tubi will put a little timer in the bottom left corner to let you know how much time is left in the commercial break. Which, I guess is that good for the advertisers, because you could get up, run off, get a drink, take a tinkle. Whereas with Pluto, you don't quite know, so you're like, maybe I should stick around, and you end up watching the commercial more. I don't know. These are the things that go through my head. I'm not sure if, either of those is some sort of metric that people can, like, if that's something that makes a difference, the timer. And I know it does for me, because what I do is also I speed up the commercials with a plug-in on my browser. Shh, don't tell anybody. So I can get through them quicker. But, hey, you see one car commercial 10 times, you know what it is. And if you're not in the market for a car, then that commercial is meaningless to you. I don't know what I'm talking about. Now I'm talking about streaming commercials. Anyway, here's the point. Mama was Santa. Mama lost the spirit of Christmas. She found the spirit of Christmas, and her husband's ghost is haunting their house. The spirit cannot leave, and the only thing he could do is he could put a star on the tree, and now he's glowing the star. Now she's going, this is wonderful, and he, on the other side of reality, is like, no, please, the star, it's a message. I must go. Please let me go to heaven, Mama. I'm trapped. Like, he's a ghost who can't. This is what Mama's Family becomes. There's a spinoff in some world. There's a ghost out there that made the star glow, but he's like, no, please get a priest and exorcise this house and let me rest, please. Exactly. You're going, oh my God, I wasn't expecting an exorcism talk or some sort of possession or some sort of haunting. But that's what you get here at Geek Mentality. That's what you get here on Sitcom All Ye Faithful, and that's what you get when I don't have much to talk about and I still enjoy rambling. So that is it, my friends. I am done. I hope everyone has a wonderful Monday and gear up for an even better Tuesday. But you know what's going to be better than that? Wednesday. Thursday, we'll see how you do on Thursday. But Friday, you're going to have a great Friday. And if you play your cards right, I'll be here every step of the way with you. So have a great week, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. You'll hear from me tomorrow. I hope you stick around. I appreciate the fact that you've been here so far every other day. And I expect you to be here tomorrow. Don't let me down. I'll be here. I'll do my part. Will you do yours? That's right. Yep, tough love. That's what I'm saying. All right. That's it. Now I'm going back to being nice. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for subscribing. You can find me, ready? Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Mastodon.social, @Geek Mentality. On Blue Sky, it's Mikey-C. On Facebook, it's Fans Not Experts. And of course, every episode of Sitcom All Ye Faithful, every episode of Geek Mentality, every episode of every podcast that I do can be found at fansnotexperts.com. Thank you so much for listening today. And until tomorrow, my friends, because I'll be back here, and you better be too. But until then, here is my theme song. This is my podcast. I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe, 'cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode.
Fans Not Experts.